Lady, the problem isn't in my pants. Mex-Men.
Touch it some more.
I was trying. I couldn't find a spot.
Yeah, touch it for him.
That's the spot.
Yep. Just keep on touching it for him.
A little higher.
So this is how it's happening, huh? This is how we're going into it?
Welcome to this issue of Mex-Men. I'm Tony.
I'm Justin.
I'm Devin.
And today we're going to be covering part 2 of Battle of the Atom.
Yep.
Adam X. Couple Adams.
This is one time.
We didn't even rehearse that. That's fantastic.
Nope, because you guys do it so much.
It's natural.
Yeah, but it's usually just one of us.
So, yep. That's what we're covering.
Well, in current news, the coronavirus has pushed New Mutants again, so that movie may never come out.
Or again. Oh, yeah.
Just like that, it's been pushed so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they just end up releasing it on like either Hulu or Disney Plus.
Heresy.
Why?
I want to see it in the theaters.
Then buy a theater.
I will. If they're going to show it, I will.
Stop being so poor and just go buy a theater.
We're just going to buy Disney and release it in my home theater.
That I actually did see something the other day, rumors that Apple was going to buy Disney. It was like, that is probably the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. There's no way that's happening.
Oh, no. Why would Disney spend all that money buying so many things to just then sell out themselves? Like, this is what we've been waiting for, guys. Someone to buy us.
Yeah, the only
no.
decent thing about that post that I saw was somebody posted a clip from Star Wars of Qui-Gon going, "There's always a bigger fish."
But Apple's bigger than Disney?
No, I don't think so. I think Disney owns everything, and Apple is, like, Disney allows Apple to be alive.
Now I feel like I need to fact check this. I think Apple might have more money. Just because everybody's got a damn Apple phone. Apple something.
Yeah,
I don't-
everybody's seen every Disney movie ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also has a Disney something.
Yeah, like I watched
Whether
it
it's
at
like a-
Bud's house. I didn't pay for that.
Huh?
I watched it at a friend's house.
Okay, but like, did someone ever like buy you a Disney stuffed animal or something?
Have you ever watched a Marvel movie?
No.
Do you buy Marvel comics?
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you support Disney?
I do. I'm not saying I don't support them.
Yeah, and Star Wars. Star Wars is great.
I saw Star Wars in the theater with you, so I know for a fact that you saw it.
Well, I definitely spend a lot more money on Disney than Apple since I have nothing from Apple. So
Yeah. I just have a phone that I broke pretty fast.
Yeah.
I just.
But not as fast as you. So,
Dude, the fucking insane. Insane how quickly.
people who don't know,
And twice.
Devin bought a brand new phone a couple months ago. The day he bought it, he got into my car, closed the door, and his phone fell out as he was closing the door and just slammed into the door.
Yeah. That was a great day.
Yeah, you were very upset, and I was trying not to laugh the whole time.
It was a great day because my Cyclops visor had just come in, and it's a fantastic visor. It was pretty dope.
And you just got a new phone?
And I just got a new phone, and then it slides out of my pocket, and then smashes. And then I had already set an alarm on it, so that was great when the alarm went off anyway. And so for a full day, the alarm is just going off, and I can't stop it.
The best part about that is, all right, Devin slammed his phone in the door and then goes, "God damn it, my fucking phone broke." And his phone goes, "Searching for my phone broke."
Yeah, that sucked. Then I got it fixed, and then the day after it was fixed, it fell again.
Yep.
So now it's been cracked since it was fixed.
Yep.
But you know, it's fine. I'm fine. Things are fine.
Are they?
Yeah.
It's looking like Apple's worth a shitload more than Disney.
No.
Yeah, like 155 billion is Disney and $1 trillion is Apple.
Oh well, in fairness, Disney did just buy a bunch of shit.
Yeah, Apple also employs, like they don't pay their employees anything. So
Do they? They made 95 billion last year alone.
So I guess you can make a lot of money when you don't have to pay people.
Yeah, when you kind of have
making your
slave
programs.
labor making your phones.
Yeah.
But then also, Disney probably does have slave labor somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just maybe not as
Oh
much
yeah,
of
they
it.
have parts where they're like taking advantage of people, definitely. But like that's what Apple's built on.
And they got to pay Robert Downey Jr., man.
You know they're not paying those 7 dwarfs jack shit. Yeah.
Well, they hired one of them, and he keeps falling asleep every time they try to do something.
Yeah.
And
One
that
keeps
one that's a
goddamn
dope.
sneezing. Yeah, he's all doped up
He brought in a doctor's note, but they didn't read it.
because Doc gave it to him.
So Dazzler became president.
I feel like we can stop right there.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Which
so-
really puts into the really goes with the whole Trump Dazzler that we were doing a couple weeks ago.
yeah. It's funny, yeah. But she looked a lot like Emma Frost in this, so that was
I
weird.
thought it was, yeah, until they
Yeah.
started talking.
Yeah.
So anyway, getting into the first issue, it's chapter 6, all new X-Men, issue 17. And so yeah, Dazzler's like, are you guys sure? Are you guys sure about this? And like, cause they're not letting you know what it is. And they're like, yeah, you're great. You're the best. And like, Disco came back and you were super awesome. And she's like, I don't remember Disco coming back, but if you guys say I'm so awesome, that's fantastic.
I'll take it.
And then it turns out, yep, you'd be a great president. And it's like a big old panel that's just like Allison Blair for president. And, you know, Beast is there looking like a monster.
You think at some point though they just kind of update her to like not like retcon, but they would just put her like she would start being a pop star
Instead
or
of
something.
disco.
Yeah, like she could still have her disco past, but like she moved into pop music or something.
Well, it's weird because, okay, there are 3 X-Men that they've shown future timelines where they become president, right? Cyclops, and that gets erased by the Phoenix. That was part of an annual. They show Shadowcat, like, and she's the one who, like, has a future career in politics. And then Dazzler for some reason in this, and I don't understand why Dazzler is the leader of anything.
What?
Yeah, I don't understand why Dazzler is the leader of anything.
Justin's so upset by you right now.
I don't know why.
Exactly, you don't know why either. It's crazy.
I don't know why you don't know why.
What?
You know what? If Trump can lead, Dazzler can lead. I'll tell you
But he
that.
can't.
But he can't. And they also made this decision way before Trump was even thought of as an actual presidential
This
candidate.
Yeah, and also
This paved the way.
I really don't want to get into Trump on this.
Dazzler was just grabbing people by the pussy.
Yeah, exactly.
She paved the way.
She did it first. She's a trendsetter.
Yeah, she definitely just following everybody in disco was trendsetting that. So
But the whole kitty president thing, that was all, I think, Chris Claremont. I think he wrote, because he wrote the end, right?
Yeah.
He made her the president. And then when he came back and wrote something, he also like, hey, guys, don't forget this. Kitty, president.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been around more often, is what I'm saying. So like, it just seemed weird. They were just like, who's the one X-Men who's been uncontroversial at all and everyone just sort of likes? And it's like, if the president is the what am I looking for here? The pop star figure, you know, just a popular person, then like that's what she is. And like maybe Cyclops being president is the version of like the tactical leader becoming president, and
well, they always have
Shadowcat's like the actual diplomat
Yeah.
person.
It would have to be, it makes sense for Dazzler because they said she's the most likable mutant.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, the black guy's president, he's got to be light skinned, that kind of garbage, you know?
Barack Obama wasn't really light skinned, was he? I mean,
He was
he's half
mixed.
black, so
He was mixed so they can slide that one.
and that was a weird joke that I didn't hear like said as often as you think it would be. That like the first black president like isn't even like he's half black, so like even then it's like they're just sort of
Because they were so mad about it to make that joke, they didn't want to make that joke.
they're so mad about making that joke.
No, they were so mad that there was a black president that they didn't want to say he was half. It didn't even matter.
Yeah, because I mean it's also
mad.
it's also still as much a white president as a black president, technically,
Yeah.
and like they're still freaking out. I think I had the classmates talking about assassinating the president. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it was a.
You're going home and jerking off after this class. Like, what are you talking about?
But on your point you were saying before is like there's always different feels to elections. Where like 2000, it wasn't like who's gonna be the best leader. It was like what president do I want to have a beer with.
Yeah.
In 2000?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically like everyone's excuse for Bush. Was like he just seemed like a
You don't
cooler
remember
guy.
people saying, like, I wouldn't want to have a beer with Al Gore. Like, I wouldn't want to hang out with him. I'll vote for George Bush. Because, to
Who
be
would want to
fair,
hang out with George Bush?
oh, you would party with George Bush.
Wait,
Dude. That guy was on cocaine in the 80s.
To be fair, George Bush, it was part of his fucking platform. He's like, look, man, I'd have a beer with you. Like, no, I mean, you vote for me, we schedule it. You come over, we just kick back, have a couple Coors.
He's like, I'll be the first president to have a beer with every single American individual.
In the same day. Let's go.
Like that's his
Let's
whole
break
campaign.
records.
He's just traveling around the United States having beers with people.
He's just, there's a long line of like shots of beer.
He's like, this is the
He's
best
just going
job
down.
ever.
This is fun, guys.
And maybe that was the problem. Maybe he was following up on that promise, and then Dick Cheney just ran everything.
Yeah. Well, 9/11. I'm pretty sure he's pretty drunk after
know.
9/11.
But that's why we got so many, back to the point, like mutant presidents. It's because just different writers pick different people. And Cyclops is the one that seems more like it wouldn't happen because he is so pro-mutant.
Well, now he was very pro like everybody get along.
Back, yeah, in the 90s.
Yeah, basically up until this time.
Oh, up until Messiah. No, because as soon as Messiah.
Up until
Complex
House
and
of
all
M,
that
I'd
stuff-
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 2000s.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but I mean, this time,
2006.
like House of M, and this is basically what, 2 years?
No.
In canon time, yeah, it's probably about a year or two.
Yeah, like because the first year, like there has to be a whole year where it's just them dealing with the fact that there are no more mutants, and then getting to the West Coast.
Which that's fucked up that like in the continuity of the comics, it's so soon that the Avengers are like seeing the young X-Men and being like, "Oh, we're over that. Like
Yeah.
we've been through this." It's like it's still just kind of happened.
Yeah. So she's like, "Oh, all right, I'll run for president," and then, sure enough, she becomes president. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
The next page, it was effortless.
It really was. And she even like, you guys put a gleam in my eye, like a little pun there about her powers, because she makes light and stuff.
Yeah, she's a shiny
But-
disco dancer.
But they made light for her,
Yeah.
and that was touching.
You know what? Not enough lights, though, at that celebration.
Well, not enough sound.
Because they expect her to
All
do
those
it.
screaming people? Well, that's what I'm saying. She's doing no lights. What is this?
All right,
off the
so
clock.
maybe that was the plan, and she walks out, and everybody's dead quiet.
So she's giving this sort of touching speech about how amazing it is that she was just elected president of the United States, and kablam, she is murdered.
Also, I want to point out that when it shows all the clapping going on, there is like a huge light shooting up into the sky.
Yeah.
So when the noise did start, she was doing the lights, but then
Oh, yeah, you're right. I
impaled
see
through
that
the
light.
chest.
But was she doing all of the lights?
all of the
All of the lights?
But the light was like in the back of the White House. Like she's lighting up the White House.
Yeah. He's like, this is my house.
It looks kind of like an alien tractor beam, to be honest.
tractor beam.
Well, and this is one of the confusing things, too, is like you expect it to be a sentinel, and it's not a sentinel. Like, it's just a bunch of crazy
It's like a
demon
lobster
monsters.
demon.
Yeah, like that, and then like dragon demons around it, and yeah, it's really weird. And then they're just like murdering people in the crowd and stuff. And the X-Men are all freaking out because, of course, they are. And yeah, so that turns out to be really bad. And then it cuts to, because that's the other weird thing. This is the past, but it's the past and the future. And then it
Yeah.
cuts to the present and the future, where it turns out, like where Chapter 5 ended, Magic has Young Beast and Iceman, and they're like, you need to go back home right now because this is fucked up. You can't be in the future. You can't know any of this. And they're like, hey, look, man, time's already super broke. And we need you to come and work with us right now because it's kind of your fault. And we don't know how it's your fault, but we're saying it's your fault. And you're going to feel guilty enough to believe it's your fault.
I think that
what
Iceman,
happens.
he had to sing "The Time Keeps on Slipping" to them to convince them to come and help him.
He is freaking out though because he realizes that's him with a beard, and he's like, well, if I'm not the Ice Hulk, then I'm this guy. But then what's the Ice Hulk? And he's like, yeah, so the thing about that is, and then Jubilee is like, hey, maybe shut the fuck up. We just said we're not telling them anything about the future, and they need to go and not know any of this stuff. And you're like breaking that rule right after we said it. So don't do that, Sir
Yeah.
Ian McKellen.
What?
Because Gandalf.
Yeah, but he's not Magneto.
Gandalf the Cold.
God damn it. Justin, please add something to this.
I'm just watching this train go off the track. We got old Jubilee. Looks kind of funky. I didn't even know that was Jubilee.
Yeah. Oh, well, to explain the cast, too, because we were a bit off when we were guessing at who the future X-Men were at the end of Chapter 5. So the actual X-Men are Wiccan, who is a maybe mutant created by Wanda. At this point, I think they're deciding he is a mutant, and he's the Sorcerer Supreme. You have Colossus with the giant Van Dyke mustache. That is solid steel. Like the rest of them, organic steel.
Yeah,
but
man,
that mustache, solid steel.
It's a Triple H mustache.
Yeah.
Got the handlebars.
You have Sentinel X, which is Shogo, which he probably isn't even a mutant, but just is in some tech. And
He's got like an Iron Man suit on, but like it's purple.
Yeah. You have Jubilee, who seems to be the leader, even though Colossus is in the center of everything. She's the one like calling the shots, and she's actually Wolverine for some reason.
Yeah, because of
Making sparkle claws.
Makes no sense.
claws.
Because, yeah, she can do that. Looks like she's still a vampire, judging by her complexion, maybe.
They say at some point she's still a vampire.
Yeah,
But
she
she got
just
her
learned to
powers back.
deal with the sun.
She didn't have powers.
Yeah.
Or she lost them, and now they're back, apparently. Or claw-like powers.
Yeah, it's different powers. It's just the claws.
Yeah. The
They
whole
still
thing
sparkle?
is weird.
Oh, because she's a vampire. Twilight. Sparkle claws.
I didn't watch that, sorry.
You know what it is, though. You know what it is, though.
Yeah.
You know what it is, though. You know what it is, though. Everyone knows what it is. We're not proud of it. We
I
know
what
it.
is. I've seen a meme or two.
Yeah, it's stupid. But that's what they did.
I don't know. I've never heard of Twilight.
Okay. So, and then there's Chimera, who is obviously the child of someone Wakandan and Storm,
Yeah.
probably T'Challa.
Probably.
But, I mean, they did get divorced.
You
so
won't
who
admit to
knows?
it, but...
That's not my baby.
We're trying to say he's running out on his kid?
No.
He's a king.
Just saying he's busy.
Yeah, like kings don't have precedence of ignoring their children.
I know.
But also,
And then,
Hmm?
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and Gandalf the Cold, clearly, he's on the team.
Yeah.
and you're,
Phoenix fired, Quentin quired.
yeah.
That was a hard F.
That wasn't supposed to rhyme like that, but it kind of worked out.
Phoenix fired, quit inquired. So yeah, that's the X-Men of the future, who want nothing to do with the troubles of the X-Men of the past and even past or past.
And also, their future, but different.
And they're technically they're present in the past because it's their
Yeah.
brotherhood.
We're making this way more confusing than it is.
But you know what? Everything I've said has actually been accurate.
But it's too hard to figure that out. Is it accurate?
It is accurate because the Brotherhood are there present, but they're in the past. Like they're those future X-Men's present.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with their past dealing with their past, but their past is also dealing with their future, which is their present.
Yes.
Sure.
And all because they can't get over their own individual past of they killed Dazzler. Is basically what it is. Because they're
Can't
like,
get over it either.
because they're like, why are these X-Men this way? And they're like, well, you see. And then it cuts to Beast like, never again. Fucking all mad that they killed Dazzler and all those people.
Darth Vader no.
Oh,
Yeah.
The third
everything's
Star Wars.
shaking.
No! Padme.
I think we're thinking a different third.
I know, but he did that, and it was sad.
That movie was bad.
Whoa, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
It was great. Episode 3,
Yeah.
my favorite. My favorite Star Wars, yeah.
I cannot even start to unpack that
Dude.
you like it more than Empire.
Yes, I do.
So there's contention over what they're going to do because most all the X-Men are like, they need to go, like the future X-Men, to Magic and young Bobby and young Hank. They need to go back to their own time and fuck off and never, ever talk about this again.
We
And
need names for the different X-Men group, like how we have First Class.
we've tried this, and it just, we're not going to do it, though. We're not going to follow it.
We ended up doing the First Class thing.
So the future X-Men who are the X-Men and not the Brotherhood, they're like, we aren't doing that. Like, we're not going to do this. And then another one's like, well, let's vote on it. And then Wolverine, who isn't Wolverine but actually Jubilee, says, "There's no voting."
Now you are making this more difficult on purpose.
It's future Jubilee.
But again, is accurate. This is how confusing it is on the page.
No, it's way easier to understand on the page.
Yeah, we also read this
Because the
story.
page has pictures. But she's like, no voting. I said we're not doing it. And then Colossus is like, well, can we vote about voting? And she's like, are you serious? And he's like, I'm not going to not help my sister. So how do you like that? So they decide, all right, we're going to go back to the past to stop the future Brotherhood from ruining their present and then come back to our future. And then it goes to the Uncanny X-Men. And they're like, man, did we get our asses kicked? And I reread this because I know we were like sort of in contention about why that even made sense. But I think it is the younger ones talking about it. And they probably did get their asses kicked.
Yeah. What's kind of confusing, the more I'm thinking about it, is good. Like, yeah, we know what Plan B ends up being for the Brotherhood.
Oh, later.
But, like, why? How is Plan A so bad?
Didn't
They
work.
never really go into it. Like, how is it sending them?
Yeah, who are the actual bad guys in all this situation? It is confusing.
They're definitely painted as like, oh, they're the villain, and they end up being super villainous. But their first plan was just the thing that they were already going to do.
I think it's just the idea that you're taking away. It's sort of like, how was Tony Stark the bad guy in Civil War when the government made it illegal to not be registered, right? Like, that was the thing.
Because he's a dick.
No, it's all the things he did on top of that, and that's
We don't
a whole
have time
different
to
argument.
unpack all of that.
But what I'm saying is the overarching theme there was free will versus mandation. Like, it was mandated for blah, 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 blah. Like, just taking away the free will of the individual characters. So ultimately, free will was the good thing, being like the other, like the structure was overbearing on it. Like, those were the two sides. And in this, that's basically the same thing. The Brotherhood is actually like the structure, like, no, the fabric of space and time need to be fixed, and that doesn't happen without you going back to your own time in the past. And they're like, what about our free will? Well, we don't want to do that shit. And so that's how it's like, they're the bad guys because they're infringing on the free will of them. But even then, Angel's like, I want to go back. You're infringing on my free will. Like,
Well,
I want to be there, not here.
The current X-Men are also trying to send them back at that time. So it's weird that, like, first of all, they only kind of shot themselves in the foot coming back in the first place. But, like, they're not doing anything that the original X-Men weren't
But even
doing
those
either.
current X-Men, they're the reason why. Beast is the reason why. He's the biggest piece of shit.
But, like,
Well,
what
he's
is
the
Plan
villain
A?
of the whole story?
He is.
He's the one, not the.
I know,
brother.
but I'm saying, like, what are they, like, they, the original Plan A, send the original X-Men back and then be like, hey, by the way, buy Dazzler some armor. And then they go back. Like, what is their plan after that?
Dazzler probably wouldn't even be president because that happened when, in a future where the past X-Men stayed in the present.
Yeah, because Jean is the one convincing her.
Yeah, her and Hank. And Rogue, for some reason.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Rogue was in that group with them where they had all the presidential shit.
Yeah, she just keeps kind of showing up randomly.
I like the idea, too. Like, you think back to that panel where they're, like, introducing this idea to Dazzler. Meanwhile, they already bought everything.
For her.
Yeah, they already bought all the promotions.
There's balloons and shit in the back.
And what is she supposed to say? No?
See, when you're just kind of glancing at it, too, it seems like they're, not only they already bought everything, but they're backstage of her presidential win. So she already won, and they're like, come on. You gotta be president. She's like, I don't think so. And like, come on. And then she's like, all right, I already won, so I guess I'll go be president.
It's
And
like
then she
one of
walks out, gives a speech, gets killed.
She's like, no, I couldn't possibly. Then she pulls out the speech already written. It was like one of those, because she was already dressed for the job. She's like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, she
She's
has
got
glasses.
She's got the gold
Yeah.
shoulder plates on and everything. It's like, come on now.
But that's how you know that couldn't have been the same day, or at least at like the same time, because she goes from the super giant shoulder pads that were all gold to just being in a pantsuit.
Yeah, I'm just saying I did have to look it over again because
Yeah.
I was like, did they just convince her to be president?
After
and then
she
she
became
immediately gets shot.
Yeah. That's so fucked up. Come on, just do it. All right, fine. Bam, dead.
Oh, but the reason that they knew they were bad is just because Jean had a feeling.
Was she hooked on it?
That was it. Yeah.
Hooked on
She was like,
She
they're
high
blocking
on
her.
believing?
Oh, we're gonna get up to all that, aren't we?
We are going to get to all that. So anyway, I think it was the students are like complaining about how they just got their asses kicked, and Scott and Emma and Magneto are just trying to figure out what the hell was even going on because they got there, you know, like even when Jean and young Jean and young Scott got the help of the Uncanny X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men were like, are we going to help these guys or not? Because they're like not supposed to be here. Like it's a good thing if they go back to their own time. But of course the Brotherhood didn't think that, and so there was that whole big old fight, and they take it anyway. Jean gave up, and they decided they're going to go back. So now the Uncanny X-Men are sort of licking their wounds, and suddenly, bam, Magic shows up. Like right after, like, and why did Magic bail on us? And turns out here's why. And she's like, hey, so these are the real X-Men from the future. Don't know who the fuck those other people were, and they decide we need to stop them because they must be the baddies. Because also they are.
It's
The-
funny
the
too
bad
that
guys.
every time, like after this, when they're like, "You guys are the bad guys," and Deadpool's like, why do you think I'm on the team? Like, you thought the good X-Men let me be a part?
Yeah. So the next chapter 7 is X-Men issue 6, and it starts with Jubilee waking up to find out that Shogo is actually being watched by Brew and not Beast and Bobby, that they went off to the future. And she's just sort of like, you know what? I don't care. Whatever. I don't want to deal with it.
You know, Brew's a good sport
He is.
because he's not complaining about a crying child like most people would.
And that baby will not stop
To be
crying
fair, crying
because
children
he's
are
a
fucking annoying.
Yeah,
He's
they
monstrous.
are. And he's like, "What? Me and him are playing." It's like, you look happy, but that baby does not look happy.
It's like it's scared of a bug monster.
Yeah. It's like,
I mean,
Shogo and I are
like you
playing.
should.
Yeah.
And then, so then it goes to
You know what'd be funny is if Brew came out to meet the future X-Men and the grown Shogo was like, "God!"
just freaks the fuck
nightmares
out.
just
Like,
outside.
you were real?
That would be awesome. It was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, that would have been incredible.
So Jubilee goes over to, I guess, meets up with Bling and Armor, and they're like, hey, so we thought it'd be a good idea if Shogo had something to protect him, because we heard he went out on a mission one time, and that was irresponsible, but, you know, we had this idea for this, like, weird charm emergency button thing that will protect him. And she's like, oh, cool, thanks, guys. And then Bling wants to ask her about relationship advice with which is weird, because... Okay, she's like, so she's gay with Mercury, who's gay, and they also like look the same. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm saying that's
It's egotistical.
it's just what
look the
a
same.
little bit. They do kind of look the same. Bling and Mercury,
I mean, one's light purple and one's silver.
they're both kind of silver.
Light purple.
They're both pretty fucking silver. One has red hair though. The other one has no hair. She just has weird like head spikes. So there's that. But she's trying to ask for advice, and then Jubilee's just like, "Nah, son, not my problem." She has other things to worry about
I'm busy getting other people to watch my baby.
because Armor's like, "I'm getting a message from Rachel. She wants us to get Beast and Iceman together because they're gonna send them back in time to their past present."
To their time.
And they're like, oh, okay, didn't they just like bail with Magic? And she's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a goof.
The way that you talk about time in this is reminding me of in Endgame when the Hulk's like, you can't go to you can't go to the future because then the future is your past and your future can't be your past.
Also, I haven't been wrong this whole time. I'm just saying.
But-
I've said everything exactly correctly. It's just a trippy book.
I don't think so.
Yep.
Have you seen that coronavirus meme though? That's the Hulk with Ant-Man after like all his tacos spill, and it was like me during quarantine, and the Hulk is handing the taco to Ant-Man, and it's like the government giving me the money it stole from me back.
That's funny. So on the Blackbird now, because they show you that they're all coming back on the Blackbird and the Dove. This is when they decide it's called the Dove. That's gonna come back around.
Garbage name.
Yep.
Is it though? Doesn't just disappear forever.
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
It goes into the future past.
But all three beasts made a giant deal out of how amazing the Dove was.
It's his best
And
creation.
they didn't even have a name for it until this issue. But Rachel is talking to Wolverine, and Wolverine's like, "We need to talk," and she's like, "We are talking," and he's like, "In here," and he hits his head like with our thinking
Nobody can
thoughts.
see what you were doing, so it sounds like he wants to talk to her like in the back room.
And then Rachel's like, there's like 2 telepaths here, right? So they're gonna know, like, they're not gonna know what we're saying, but they're gonna know that we don't want them to know what we're saying. So that's almost as bad, right? He's like, I don't care. So they're having a mental.
Yeah, the immortal guy that can heal from anything doesn't care about the repercussions to his actions.
Yeah.
Maybe think about the redhead.
To be fair, at this point, his healing factor is slowing. It's not what it used to be.
Yeah, you know what? I bet he'll be dead in the next few months.
You'd be right. So
Stay tuned for when we cover Death of Wolverine.
So he's like, I don't know about these guys. They might not be on the up and up, but I could be wrong. And so she's like, so you want me to spy on them psychically? He's like, yeah,
Psychically?
psychically. I'm trying not to burp right now, man. It's so fucking hard. But I think I got it. Anyway.
Good, I'm proud of you.
She's like, Rachel, she's like, well, I guess I can do that. And he's like, cool, but be cool about it. Because if they are cool, I don't want them to know we had suspicions. And she's like, so are you wrong? And he's like, not a chance. So it's like this weird thing of like, I don't trust them. But like, they
I
might
could be wrong,
but they could be telling the truth. It's like, are you wrong though? And he's like, no.
Yeah, it was real weird. It's like the type of shit that Beast says. You know what? It's really funny that all the douchebag characters say that type of stuff. Because I've heard Beast and Bishop say those exact things. Like, I'm never wrong.
Right?
Like, but you're historically wrong.
All the time. Like, your biggest thing is about being wrong
Yeah.
about hope. Like, ugh, you tried real hard to kill a child.
Yep.
Who was the savior of the species.
Still down for it, too. Still down to kill anybody who has a stomach. That is his weakness. If somebody was like a type of alien creature that's just like legs to head or something, like no stomach.
Oh, on Wolverine. I was still talking about Bishop.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was so funny, too, how he was, like, he went to apologize, like, hey, so I know your dad just died, but are we cool? Like, all that time I tried to kill you. Like, I'm sorry about that.
Chased you throughout your whole
She's just like,
childhood.
you fuck off? Like, no. I don't want to talk to you. And on the day of my dad's funeral? What? So, anyway, they land, they get out, and Xavier's all happy. He's like, we're going to fulfill our thing, man. It's
Brotherhood
awesome.
Xavier.
And, yeah. Well, he's the only Xavier around now.
Yeah.
And Zorn is all, I'll take these 3 down to the dungeon. I mean, lab.
That's what Scott does a sarcasm.
Yeah.
Xavier gives him bedroom eyes.
He's so creepy.
He says, because it's weird to see Scott doing any type of sarcasm. He's like, I'm proud of you all. Seriously, this is first class heroics. You're a credit to the X-Men name, Charles Xavier's name. And that is just Xavier giving him bedroom eyes.
Yeah. Well, he's like, I am Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
In every way.
He's doing the eyebrow thing.
He's like looking him in the eyes. I am Charles Xavier, young Scott.
It's like, it's not pedophilistic if I'm your age.
He's like, my dick works. You're young. Shit.
I'm not in a wheelchair yet.
And he will be soon somehow. It's the weirdest thing. So Bling shows up and Xavier does that bad guy thing, right? Where they're like actually happy because their plan's working out. And he's like, so where are the other pieces to my plan that we know we got? Yeah. And she's like, oh, those guys? Yeah, they, I don't know. They just like left. And he's like, they're not here? What do you mean? And starts immediately torturing her psychically to retain the information. And then meanwhile, you have Rachel kind of having a meltdown of like slowly realizing, oh no, they're the bad guys.
Right. That torturing didn't let him know or let him in. And then Wolverine's just letting this happen. He's like, whoa, buddy, chill out.
He's like, hey, bro, we don't do stuff like that around here.
Also, he's like celebrating how right he was. He's like, every damn time.
Yeah. Well, so Xavier tortures all the information out of Bling, which is also weird. How does Bling know that they went to the future? She just knows that they took off with magic. And he's like, right away, Xavier's like, someone named Ilyana fucking took them and they went off into the future. I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. They're coming. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. They're coming for us. Like talking about the future X-Men who are coming back to their past that is the present. And so...
You're doing this on purpose.
And so Wolverine is like, hey, bud, that's too rough. Almost like was okay with one of his students just being psychically interrogated.
I
just
think we
not
both know that
hard.
he is okay with, like, hurting the kids. It has to be on his terms. How they're
Yeah. And then, yeah, exactly. That's when Rachel is like, they can't be trusted. And then Wolverine does the thing that every damn time. Because she says, Wolverine was right.
I like your commitment.
He
to
fucking
that.
popped a boner so quick. He's like, Logan was right.
No, when he gets a boner, it goes, sing.
It's instant.
Yeah. So it turns out that future Shadowcat wasn't Shadowcat at all. Or Kate, rather. It was Raz.
Rays.
One of them.
I thought it was Raze.
He just shows up. He stabs Wolverine in the stomach.
Yep.
That was the highlight of that issue.
Payback. Stebby.
The sequel.
The
remix.
Stebby.
So yeah, Wolverine both finds out that time he fucked Mystique, they did conceive, and also that he's got 3 short claws in his stomach, and so he's learned what that feels like.
Looks like he shoved his whole fist
Through
into
his
Wolverine's
abdomen.
stomach.
Yeah.
Just fisted him.
It's like that time that someone what was it in one of the Batman movies where he's talking to someone and then they go away and he's like, oh, that's what that feels like.
Oh, is it when Catwoman just disappears?
Yeah.
When he's talking to her. So that's what that feels like.
Yeah. And while this is happening, Jean, future young Jean, who is Zorn, because there's both Jeans down there, right? Both pairs. So,
I mean, you could say old Jean, not future young Jean in this.
Yeah.
well, because old Jean could be confused with actual Jean, who is old Jean.
Old Jean's dead. This is the only old Jean.
Hey man, old Jeans come back in style. It's called retro. So
We're not shopping at the Salvation Army here. Let's go.
so forced. Anyway, they're down there, and she's like, "Trust me, this really is the best for all you guys." And Scott's still upset about it, and she's like, "Oh, don't you ever go changing, Scott? This is so great." And then she's like, "Oh, incapacitate them all on it," and then she just fucks up everyone.
The whole, because Xavier pops up to tell her that, in my head, I feel like he's like, execute Order 66.
Yeah. And so, like, meanwhile, Rachel runs over to Wolverine and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? And she tries to send a warning to Storm. And then Xavier's like, fuck you. And like, Psy smacks her and he's like, you're both too slow and too late because Storm can't hear you. They all just got the shit kicked out of them psychically.
Also, technically, he could smack her with the telekinetic words, fuck you.
That could happen. That's crazy.
Like, it just hits her so hard, fuck you. Ah.
This is crazy because they just, like, Wolverine got stabbed in the stomach, and then evil Xavier blasts Rachel, and then Jubilee goes to attack evil Xavier, and he's like, this is unnecessary. It's like, you just attacked us.
Yeah.
Whoa. We got an
fight.
overreaction here.
And then it's like Rachel's team is actually winning too. Like they're kind of kicking their ass. Because Beast, oldest evil Beast he got hit by Zorn's Cybolt, and Zorn helps him up like, yeah, sorry about that, buddy. I just had to act really quickly. He's like, that's understandable. Do they need help upstairs? And she's like, if they needed help, they would have asked. And then they're just getting their asses kicked, kind of.
Yeah, like, let's go check the fridge.
Yeah. Well, they're still preparing the time cube and stuff. That's what it is, right? A time cube?
The time cube.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Marvel gets lazy on some stuff.
So, like...
Well, better a time cube than some super scientific name like they would do in the 60s or whatever. Like, let's create some crazy name for this.
In part, why they're kicking their ass so well, Rachel's team, is that Psylocke shows up, and she just smashes a psychic morning star into the head of the Hulk, Iceman, and she says a thing that you like that I don't like. So you
Write down Psychic Morningstar as a character name for
Psychic Morning Star.
yeah.
Yeah, she says, that ball weighs 90 pounds and I swung it one-handed and I think this baby just pooped. Being a mom's easy.
Yeah. And I have two
That's an
problems with
average
this.
day for a mom.
One, not her baby.
She's not changing that diaper. You know she's not doing it.
Yeah, I know, but she's like, being a mom's easy. Like, you're not even mothering, though.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
The
There's
baby,
Jubilee.
the baby pooped in the diaper, but you're not changing the diaper.
yeah, but at least Jubilee's claiming it.
Every time I see Jubilee with that damn baby, it's her trying to take a nap and forcing somebody else to watch the
Yeah.
baby.
Which is kind of funny because she threw the baby into Psylocke's hands, like, here, take this baby, I'm going to go fight. And then she got backhanded, like, out of the fight immediately, and then Psylocke has to come save the day while holding the baby.
Yeah.
Like, why did you give me this baby? I could have just went and fought.
Also, how does the Morning Star weigh 90 pounds? It's a psychic, like, she just made it psychically.
She psychically made it 90 pounds.
But that's just weird. That's like just a weird concept to me. They
Also, an odd
psychically
weight for
make
how
weight.
big it is.
Yeah. Also, Morning Stars don't weigh 90 pounds.
That one does. Have you ever held a psychic Morningstar?
Fair enough. No, I have not.
Also, it does make sense to add weight to any psychic object she's making because, like even her psychic sword, it would feel weird to move without it having weight.
It's like
Right,
throwing a
but
wiffle
here's-
ball. You can't throw a wiffle ball far.
But here's what I'm saying. You're
can't.
the one making it, right? Like, it's psychic, so it's ethereal. You can decide that it's heavier for one person than it is for you. So is it that impressive that she swings a 90-pound Morning Star if it's only 90 pounds for what it hits and actually, like, weightless for her?
I don't think it works that way.
It doesn't work that way. The most advantageous way for a psychic weapon to work, but it works
She
in the
made it
other way
weigh-
that's ridiculous.
she made it weigh 10 pounds for her.
You can make them think it weighs more, but you can't make it weigh more for somebody else than you. It's one item.
It's ridiculous. It's a psychic weapon. All it is thoughts made manifested into a thing.
Yeah, but those are some heavy thoughts, man.
So anyway, Deadpool shows up to attack Psylocke, and the first thing he does is insult her, calling her a girl, and then realizes, like, no, you're a woman. It's definitely, like, I'm sorry for insulting you. Also, you're super hot. And it turns out that Deadpool, crazy crushing on Psylocke.
Yeah. Well, Rachel also laid the smackdown on evil Xavier.
Oh, for a minute, I thought you said crazy crushing on Psylocke. Like Rachel also, I was like, man,
Yeah,
did I miss that
probably
in that
though.
book?
Everybody is. But I just think that's important because her power gets understated a lot. So she whoops some ass there.
And then it turns out Zorn and Beast are traitors. I mean, we know this, but like the other X-Men didn't know this. So they sort of like wake up with power dampened, like, oh no, you're bad guys? Like, yeah, it's crazy. And then Storm
The demon beast looking guy is bad.
and then Storm says something that is immediately dismissed. She's like, well, you may have us, but you're in a school with the most gifted faculty and student body in the world. They're all super powerful and they'll all stop you. And they're just like, yeah, Beast, lock it down. And he just locks down the school and everyone else is ignored from that point on.
Like Gambit and, what is that? Not Deathbird. What's her name?
Yeah, I think it is Deathbird.
No.
Yeah,
That's not Deathbird.
she's like a Deathbird.
She is like a bird lady.
Yeah, well, she's
Warbird?
maybe, I don't know.
It's some type of bird. But they're just hanging out in the break room.
It's a falcon.
They're just like chilling when they get locked in. There's a water cooler there.
So then Xavier possesses Krakoa, so that happens. 'Cause they basically just take over the entire school at that point. And the X-Men show up, the Uncanny team with the future X-Men, and Cyclops is like, all right, we need to do some sort of recon and figure out what was going on here. And Shogo's like, I got it, and just blasts off. And he's like, well, that's not what I meant. And Wolverine Jubilee is like, well, he did what you meant, so that's fine. And then Shogo meets his young mom.
Yes.
Which he seems to like
And his
better
baby
than his
self,
old
yeah.
mom.
And then they go back to the X-Men. They're like, hey, look who I found. And then Psylocke, all tattered, shows up like, hey, it's crazy in there.
Also, I just noticed that Jubilee has the Bret Hart glasses.
You just noticed she has Bret Hart glasses?
Yeah, I didn't. For some reason, I didn't know she's got Bret Hart glasses.
It's only been like 3 decades with those.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, when do they ever use Jubilee?
All right, so
I mean, I know she has glasses, but the relation to how much they look just like Bret Hart's glasses.
So Chapter 8 of Battle of the Atom is Uncanny issue 13, and it starts with a lot of talking of, like, the younger Uncanny X-Men. Like, I don't feel comfortable about this. I don't know if I'm ready for this sort of thing. They seem all big and scary. And the future X-Men are like, we need to go in there and, like, bash some skulls. And then Cyclops is like, what we need is, like, a plan, you know? Because we don't know what's going on, and we don't know them. And Wolverine Jubilee is all, you're not prepared for this because you don't know what it's like to fight your friends and their, like, future selves. But this is weird because they just did that.
Yeah, that's all they do.
It is all kind of all they do. But, like, they just fought, you know, a future Xavier, and they fought a future past Jean Grey and, you know, Beast. Which I guess, like, Beast is always kind of a dick, so they probably didn't have a hard time fighting him.
They were like, finally.
Again, we get to fight. And he's like, no, we need a plan. Which, wait, she says, because I'm realizing this now too. She says, you're not prepared for what you're about to face. And his whole point is like, yeah, so we need a plan. A plan is to be prepared for what you go into. And she's the one who's like, we need to just fight right now and like take it to them. But anyway, while they're sort of squabbling, a piece of a tower of the school just crashes at their location. And they all almost die, but Wiccan saves them all. And they're like, okay, so I guess the plan's run at them and fight. Because they just already started the fight. And they're like, hey, where'd Beast and Iceman and Psylocke go? It's like, yeah, that's crazy. They just disappeared. And it turns out Psylocke wasn't Psylocke. It was Raz?
Yeah.
Raz?
Razzle dazzle.
Yeah, that guy. It was him. And he just sort of knocked them out and took them over into the school without anyone noticing.
Clubbed them and carried them off.
Yeah.
Into the back.
Like baby seals.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then
we do not condone
we
beating
don't.
seals.
We don't, but that's a terrible thing that happens. So anyway, they end up getting attacked by the Ice Hulk, and fucking Phoenix Choir is like, I got this, and then he doesn't have it.
No, he doesn't have anything during this.
Because it's a big thing of ice, and you're fire incarnate. It should be easy. You take him out, and Ice Hulk is not defeated ever, apparently.
Even though he was smashed to pieces.
Yeah, with a 90-pound Psychic Morningstar. And now he's being melted, but not melting.
He's
weird.
Impossible to beat.
But he's also terrible. Like, how is he impossible to beat if everyone's actually kind of getting over on him, but no one's, like, just putting him down, like, for real?
Because he's got no, like, he can't feel pain. He's just a big, dumb hunk of ice.
Yeah. So Magic and Colossus end up teleporting into the school. By the way, Colossus actually has Magic's soul sword. We forgot to mention this. And he has that because the future version of Ilyana gave it to him. Because right away she's like, hey, you got my soul sword. And he's like, yeah, you gave it to me.
Can I have that one too?
She dual wield soul swords.
Soul sword? Oh, that'd be so
awesome.
dope.
I mean, she can now, right?
Yeah. But she kind of does too. Like every once in a while she's drawn with two swords. Like one big ass one and one smaller one.
Yeah, the old one and the soul sword. Because sometimes she's got the big sword and then the old sword, the skinny one.
Yeah, but they never, like, say they're two distinctly different swords. They just draw her with two swords for some reason. And then she doesn't have it.
I think it's the same sword.
She just splits it into two somehow?
I mean, like, when they draw it differently. Like, when she's got the big sword and then she's got the small sword.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. It's always the soul sword. If she's holding a sword, it's the soul sword.
What if it's two swords?
But exactly, that's my point. Every once in a while, they draw her, like, on a cover or something, but she's got two swords. And then the big one is like, obviously that's the soul sword. So what's the small one? Is it like a...
We'll find out in 10 of Swords.
She's got two of them. So they port into the school, and then suddenly there's an explosion, and they're under rubble because Molly and Deadpool show up. And they're like, well, we beat them. And then suddenly Magic and Colossus are like, no, you didn't. And Magic teleports Deadpool into the sky and then just lets him fall. Then he dies.
Yeah. I was going to say, she beat the shit out of him pretty easily.
Yeah.
Because he didn't land a single shot on her. He, like, tries to shoot her, and she just grabs his hand. He's like, and then she teleports him. Like, it was nothing.
And then Colossus just punches Molly right in the face.
And then just stands there.
Yeah.
Your move.
And then they start fighting, and she's like, I looked up to you guys, and you guys, I thought you were awesome, but I was wrong, and you're terrible.
That
and
mustache.
yeah. You grew it out. Why? I specifically said not to do
Looked
that,
up to
and
you
you
before
did
you
it.
grew that mustache.
I love that. Like, that's the thing that put her over the edge. Is so she became an evil mutant.
She tore his poster off the wall and everything. She drew the mustache with the permanent marker, then tore the shit off.
Oh no, even worse. Like maybe like some precog mutant like drew the mustache on him, and she got mad because how dare you deface my poster? And then it turned out that was the future of his face.
It had to do with time travels. Like, he went back in time, and when he came back, then her poster just changed on the wall, and all of a sudden the poster has a mustache on it. She ripped that shit off.
Just takes an X-Acto knife and cuts out the mustache.
Yeah.
Because he had a beard, right? In
Yeah, he said a beard.
Age of X-Men?
Yeah.
And they just drew it as like a regular beard, didn't they? When he was metaled up?
Whenever he gets emo, he grows a beard.
Maybe only mustaches turn metal.
That'd be so weird. Like the mustache part of the beard's metal, but then the rest of the beard's just hair.
Like Scott Steiner, but
Yeah, exactly like Scott Steiner. It's just instead of the blonde parts, it's metal parts.
yeah.
So anyway,
Maybe it's just a gray stash.
oh,
Because his hair's black, not metal.
like he uses just for men, but in his hair, and
Yeah.
then his face
He
stays
likes it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ilyana shows up and just stabs Molly right in the back because that's how you stop that person. It
So
looked
you
pretty
stop
dope.
Almost anybody.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's not very effective though.
And then for the rest of the X-Men, they're all eaten by Krakoa. Again, like the third time. Just forever being eaten by that fucking island that
Yeah,
is currently
maybe not.
landlocked.
Maybe not make your like build your house on something sentient that eats you.
Yeah. So Roz takes the last two of the young X-Men into the Beast Lab, and they go ahead and throw them all on the time cube, and they're like, all right, gotta send you back to the past. And then it doesn't work. And Ilyana shows up, and she's like, I'm gonna stop this. And Zoran Jean is like, no, you're not. And she freezes her. And then is like, you're actually going to kill yourself. Because, spoilers, you do anyway. So that was sort of a dark moment.
Yeah, and then as she's drawing the soul sword like closer to her neck, you see it like cutting in and the blood dripping down.
Yeah.
It's like very hard to see because it's like drawn black, but you see the like a little bit drip down.
And there was a moment, too, with when Molly and Deadpool had actually like did that explosion and thought they beat Ilyana and Colossus, where Deadpool is like, hey, I wonder what the future would have been like if magic didn't, and then like, so like alluding to like, or like if she didn't release and it ends there. So sort of like he's alluding to maybe the monsters were her doing.
The ones that killed Dazzler. It
Yeah.
looked like a limbo.
Like she used up all of Limbo, so like the monsters had to go somewhere.
Yeah. Like, that's a really, like, these monsters that kill Dazzler, it's very vague in where they come from. Because early on in this Battle of the Atom, they interact with a new mutant whose whole power is to make up monsters. So, like, could it be from that person, but later in the future, like, as a callback or like a...
She was making, like, dinosaurs, though, not demon monsters.
Maybe it's
different
Kaiju
artists
in the future.
So you never know. Like, that was the actual Inhuman X-Men war.
Yeah, like Bendis knew Kid Kaiju was coming.
Yeah. So, like, is it that? Is it a shield thing? Or, like, this is, like, the new version of Sentinels? Because also, during that time, all those Madroxes were killed, and they were the security force.
Yeah, it looked like a strategic hit, not like just something was released.
Because each one of them had, like, smoke coming off their chest, but also they were foaming out of their mouths. It was, like, a really weird, like, you don't know how they died.
But why bother kill all the Madroxes when, like, you just had a monster shoot her through the chest? Like, they were like the lookouts. What are they gonna do? Like, what was the point?
Maybe
They see
killed them
it.
first.
I mean, but have you seen what a bunch of Madrox can do when they're all holding a bat? Not a lot.
Yeah.
We did see what they could do
not-
in Rosenberg's.
Not really anything.
Yeah, Rosenberg's. So yeah, Magic tries to stop them from teleporting the first class back in time, and Jean stops her. She's all like, all right, go ahead and kill yourself now. And like at the same time, Xavier has Krakoa like trying to keep all the rest of those X-Men inside of its mouth, and Krakoa like is like exploding as they're trying to get out of it. And I don't understand the Illyana part actually, how she gets free of Zorn's mind control, but everyone else ends up being able to get out of Krakoa because Colossus just shows up with the Soul Sword and then fucking stabs him in the back the same way Illyana just stabbed Molly. You know, doing the reverse Logan.
Yeah. You would think he's not that quiet, too. Big ass metal dude.
Yeah.
He's like sneaking up on everybody. Sounds like a damn robot.
Yeah. So all the controls that Xavier had psychically over things, like they released. But yeah, the magic thing is still confusing to me.
Yeah, because it's not Xavier that is controlling her.
Yeah.
Maybe like off panel, like she put the Zorn put the sword to Illyana's throat, and then was like, Xavier, take over. I gotta piss real quick, and then Colossus was like, sword.
I just think she was powerful enough to break out.
During this time too,
Yeah, maybe both of them were doing it.
they're like, is the time machine broke? And they're like, Roz, go ahead and jump on there and fucking travel through time real fast. And so he turns into Cyclops. They send him back in time. And he's like, and then he comes back and he's like, holy shit, it works. I just saw Xavier. I was like walking around for 3 minutes and it was crazy. Like, he didn't see me, so that was good.
He's doing something real weird in the garden.
Yeah.
He was just playing with himself.
It's like, I don't know what he had under that blanket, but it just kept popping up. Like, the blanket kept coming, like, going up and down. I don't know what he had under there.
The children are here. I will enjoy my garden.
So they're like, oh, then what's the problem? And Beast is like, oh, man, this is crazy, but also dope, but also terrible. Because we've broken time in a way I don't understand yet. That's fascinating. And they're like, it's not the time for fascinating.
We really fucked it up now.
If I can't understand it.
And basically what happens is like Beast starts saying something like, it appears as if and then Cyclops comes in the room, played yourself.
You done goofed.
You're done.
You done goofed,
He
kid.
cocks a shotgun, too.
And then the issue ends and picks back up in Chapter 9, Wolverine and the X-Men, issue 37. And it picks up, like, when Scott first entered the room, he had, like, all the X-Men behind him. And then it's, like, not at all. He's in a white room with Zorn, and Zorn's all like, hey, remember me? I'm Jean. And, like, takes off the mask. And he's like, not my Jean. And then she kisses him. He's like, yeah. My Jean kissed worse. You're a better kisser. That's how I know this ain't real.
He's like, what am I do?
I feel like he should have been better prepared. He showed up and immediately got put in this white room. He's like, ah, fuck, not this.
Yeah, basically, yeah. He was like, no, not this. What the fuck?
Again.
The guy who has the most experience fighting psychics and, like, being around them.
He's like, this fast?
That's why psychics are broken, though, because that fight's, like, over. It could just be over right there.
Yeah. And she's basically like, look, it doesn't matter what you want, because in 5 seconds, we'll be gone. I guess you could say, you done goofed. And so, like, he basically wakes up in the room. He's like, oh, man, that happened. Fuck, they're gone. They were just here. And, like, the power-dampened X-Men against the wall, like Storm and, second shittiest Beast, they're off right there, sort of like just looking at him like, yeah, you let that happen? And all the other X-Men are like, what happened?
They had Quire there. Like, Quentin Quire couldn't have stopped this.
Yeah.
Phoenix Quire.
He done goofed.
Yeah. I feel like he just stood by and let this happen.
I also think they were just sort of like, because it's weird that he's overreacting so much, but I think he was just causing a commotion so that they didn't see the boner he had in his pants.
All of a sudden, he's got a backpack.
Just covering his pelvic. Yeah, so the Brotherhood slips away in a ship that is not the Dove. They're in the Blackbird, which is crazy because Beast practically had an orgasm over the whole concept that the Dove was a thing.
Yeah, he knows how shitty his ship is.
The Dove had
They're not
nothing
in it.
special. I just gotta re-point that out. It's just a white blackbird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the best thing I have
It's a
ever
white bird.
made. You're proud of yourself, aren't you?
A little bit.
For what?
Because it's so dumb.
Just you should take the advice of Justin's shirt right now.
So they should be. Do you know more show then? So they're like, I guess it's Plan B then. And it's like, what do you mean Plan B? I didn't know we had a Plan B.
No more babies.
And Xavier, at this point, he's in a psychic wheelchair that he's constructed for himself. Because again, apparently it doesn't kill you to get stabbed in the back super hard by the Soul Sword. Because Molly's there too, and so is Ice Hulk. Like, they get everyone but Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool got murked.
Yeah. Like, Xavier walks past Deadpool at one point, and he's like, guess he's dead. And then later, after they leave, like, they're looking for them on the grounds, and Chimera walks past Deadpool, he's like, oh, he's dead. So, it turns out Deadpool, pretty dead.
I feel like I should at least mention that Justin's shirt is Kitty shushing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the Marauders variant where she's coming through the wall.
yeah.
But yeah, like, you get stabbed in the back. They're treating it like it's a psychic sword almost. Because they would have bled out.
Oh, no, it can't be a psychic sword. Because
Doesn't
they would have
weigh
bled
90
out.
pounds.
Well, the density, though, is of real metal because that's how psychic weapons work. They make it the thing it is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm saying they would have died.
They should have.
Yeah, they should
That
have.
sword is wide.
They got stabbed with the humongous, like, sword from Cloud, Final Fantasy sword, in
Yeah.
the back and just walked away.
So,
Not Xavier.
Do you think it made the Final Fantasy music when they stabbed him through?
Yeah.
all right, so right away, all the X-Men in the school now are trying to figure out what to do, and Scott is like, all right, like, he starts giving orders, like, one of you start tracking the GPS on the jet or whatever, and, like, another one of you check the grounds and all this, and Wolverine right away is like, no, how about you shut up? And then he starts telling his people to do the same thing Scott was just telling his people to do, and then it's just sort of a argument between Scott and Logan.
I thought that was a great impression. You sounded like a dude who, like, wants to be in charge, but really is not in charge.
And so they start arguing over like, you and your, like, Logan's like, you and your people stay where I can see you because I don't trust any of you at all. But I mean, these future X-Men, they're the for real deal X-Men because Wiccan, he saved my life, so I trust that. Mind you, this is like another thing he's super wrong about because not a mutant, so not an X-Men. Like, he's just a dude.
He can be an X-Men.
No.
Shogo?
Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
She
She wasn't an X-Men.
She
wasn't
flew
an
the
X-Men.
ship.
She just lived in the...
Yeah,
In
she
the
was
fiction.
she was a guest,
Moira?
not an X-Men.
Not an X-Men.
Is a mutant.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but is a mutant now.
I
But
was talking about in the past when she was just there.
she was a person with a lab
Yeah.
who Xavier, like,
She was science
banged
guy.
once or something. I don't know.
Probably twice.
No, I think once.
Once. That was it.
Yeah, I think she was like, never mind.
She's not. She's not age appropriate for him.
Yeah. So he was like, never mind. It's like, I did that once. You're only older now than when you were before. That was already too old.
He couldn't get it up.
Fucking creep.
She thought it was the paralysis.
Yeah. So, and then there's a thing, too, between the two of them where Scott's like, are you serious? Like, we're going to talk about reputations and stuff. Like, how many people have you killed? He's like, doesn't matter. You
You killed the one guy that counts.
Which, like, why? Why is he the one guy who counts? And,
We were in Nambla together.
Wolverine's like, he doesn't know how many people he killed. It doesn't matter. I'm not counting, to be honest.
So the Brotherhood, turns out their plan B is to go to Cape Citadel, where it all started. Because poetic irony? I don't know. It actually doesn't make much sense why they go there.
Nope.
Other than to just go there. And they start just beating up military people who are there just cuz. Like, just trying to draw attention of the X-Men and of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff. And then, of course, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s attention is grasped. they're like, hey, the X-Men are fucking up Cape Citadel. I guess we got to go do that. And like right away, she's sort of blaming Dazzler. Like, how come you didn't know about this already?
He just blames the closest mutant towards her.
And she's like, I was on the ship with you. Like like we were in the same place at the same time when this happened. How could I have known
She's
about
constantly blaming Dazzler.
Yeah.
Any mutant problems? My mutant liaison.
But
Well,
also,
you broke
it's-
up with Magneto, so he doesn't want to talk to me.
Yeah, but also it's not even Dazzler at this point. It's Mystique. And so the advice is always going to be terrible advice. She's like, well, what you should do is bring more helicarriers. That's how you solve this. You just get all the helicarriers and send them over there. Because that's the only way you can help a chaotic situation is add way more guns.
Sounds about right, though.
Yeah. And then there's a great moment between Quentin Quire and Quentin Quire.
Yep. And his awesome shirt says Magneto was left.
Yep.
Left where? We'll never know.
Cape Citadel. That's why they went there.
Went back to pick him up.
Yeah.
Magneto's the only one they didn't bring back from the future. So
Yeah.
So,
he was left in the future.
yeah.
Yeah, young Quire is facing Phoenix Quire, and Phoenix Quire's like, all right, one question. I'll answer one thing. And so it like young Quire like takes a moment and he's like, when do I leave this school? And then Phoenix Quire just starts laughing and walks away.
Yeah, and he basically is like, man, I'm a dick.
Yeah.
He's like, I hope I die before I get old.
And then the X-Men all go to Cape Citadel, and then there's like a cool moment where they all just jump out of their collective blackbirds, I guess.
You know what that picture's missing? Swords.
You know what? Sure.
Because that's the same picture pretty much that they use for the advertisement at Tennis
I'm
Swords.
thinking of the way that Logan and Cyclops are posed too when they're jumping out, and like Wolverine yells X-Men and Cyclops yells take them down, and like they both have one arm like reaching backwards. Could easily be holding a sword, both of them.
Yeah.
Easily
It'd
holding
only be cooler.
hands.
I wonder if they said that together.
You know what? That too.
If you don't see it automatically, their hands are both back, and they could easily just clasp hands.
They're reaching.
It's like when you're jumping together in a pool. It's exactly what they look like.
Yeah, there's only 2 swords in this picture.
So they start fighting the Brotherhood, and the Brotherhood are sort of losing. So they make this kind of proclamation.
Colossus is doing the Link move from Super Smash, where he's putting the sword straight down.
He
He's just diving down.
It's not important to anything, but he's not wrong.
Okay. Anyway, they're beating the X-Men, well, the Brotherhood, and there's sort of like this this Hail Mary move that I guess has been Plan B the whole time, and it's to make S.H.I.E.L.D. like try to kill a bunch of mutants. So like Xavier decides like it's time for them to do the thing, and so Zorn's like, I'm doing the thing, and she makes all the helicarriers fire all the missiles. But interesting what happens though, Phoenix Quire is like there with her. They haven't really started fighting the way they're going to start fighting in the next issue, but it looks like Zorn takes the Phoenix Force and uses it when she rains those missiles down. I thought that was kind of cool that they just sort of added that there.
I can see what you're talking about because the picture even blends from like the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
Like it kind of forms
And then
one picture.
you look at the panel all the way at the bottom, and you see she's actually right next to Quire. So she took the flames of the Phoenix and used it for herself.
Yeah, it does look like that, but I'm not going to believe it.
Well, you don't have to because she says it. She says it later.
She doesn't say she used the Phoenix.
No, but she says it wants her.
That's what we all say, isn't it?
So
you know the Phoenix wants me.
that's where that chapter ends, and chapter 10 picks up in the second issue of the Battle of the Atom issue, the Omega issue, basically.
The whole thing is dumb because she forces them to launch the missiles, and then she's like, "That's what they think of you."
Yeah.
But you did it.
And no one says that, too.
Yeah.
They're all just like, this is crazy. They're firing missiles at us. And it's like, but you saw her. You saw her do the thing.
Yeah.
And then Beast gets up and starts to make a speech where he's like, see, this is what we have to look forward to. They'll always be. And then he gets killed.
They'll always shoot at us when we pull their trigger.
Exactly.
And when we stand to make announcements,
I think it should be mentioned that I think this issue, we could probably all agree that this issue has like the best art in it.
Mostly, yeah. And then there's like, it takes a weird left turn later. But most of the time, yes.
Yeah, Zorn's mask
Rivik
looks
is dope
awesome.
as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
What was that artist that we were talking about earlier that it was on one of these with the weird name?
Wade something. That wasn't even the funny part.
Yeah, you forgot the funny part. I'll edit in.
Von something.
Well, I'll edit in you saying it right there.
Yeah.
So it turns out, though, that so many of those missiles aren't even missiles. That they're just containers.
They're spears.
This dome isn't a dome. It's a sphere. No, it turns out that they're Sentinels, and that S.H.I.E.L.D. just has Sentinels sitting up in their helicarriers because that's what killed Beast. And then they really start fucking with the X-Men. And so you have the Brotherhood and the X-Men fighting the Sentinels, but then you also still have the Brotherhood and the X-Men fighting each other. And there is a fight between Zorn and Phoenix Choir, where Zorn's like, Choir is like, you never deserved this thing. Like, I use it so much better than you ever could. And she's like, oh yeah? Then why does it want me more? Why does it whisper my name whenever I'm in the room, even
Shut
right
up.
now? Yeah, exactly. He's just insecure. He's like, shut up.
It's nuh-uh.
It's Von Grawbadger, by the way.
Oh, it's such a funny name.
You definitely he's got a monocle.
And then there's this
Von Gone Badger. He's been hiding in this country since the 40s.
There's a crazy kind of cool thing that happens too, where Shogo's up in the air and Roz is fastball specialed at Shogo by the Ice Hulk, and he cuts Shogo, or Sentinel X rather, not like the baby, who we forgot to mention too is in a hamster ball.
Yeah, they made a
Like, it
little
turns out-
protective hamster ball for it.
Turns out the pendant is a hamster ball the whole
That they
time.
gave to Shogo to use.
Yeah, which is so stupid. Like, how does a baby know when to use it?
It turns out the whole time it was a spear.
That was true.
Yeah, because Jubilee's like, press the beep beep. He could have easily just took a dump at that time instead of pressing that button. That's how close he was to death.
Yeah. So, anyway, Roz has Ice Hulk do that fastball special, and then Jubilee Wolverine has Colossus do a second fastball special so that she could be in the air to attack Roz, except when she goes to do that, he's like, okay, so you think you're going to kill me, but it's you, me, and that giant killer robot behind you, so maybe not. And then she gets killed, nearly ripped in half by a Sentinel Blast.
It's like, not falling for that.
I like
Yeah.
how Colossus's whole battle plan was just pick up and throw the closest person to you.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, go!
And then Xavier's like, so you want to cripple me, huh? I'm going to do worse than that to you, and like gives him an aneurysm, so, to Colossus. So he dies. So, I mean...
Did he die?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't show him again. I mean, normally...
They show him, like...
It doesn't seem like he dies, but they show his body later.
Yeah, they show that he dies. And then Illyana gets pissed off, and then you'd think she's killing Xavier at this point, but then she actually doesn't. So Xavier doesn't get killed, even though Illyana turns into Darkchild and like fucks him up.
Half Dark Child.
Well, yeah.
She has the horns, not the legs.
She's like Dim Child.
She slices him in the back again. Not a stab this time, but
She just does things to make him even less like mobile. Like
Yeah.
breaks his legs, busts his kneecaps.
and then this the art is really good, but the Emma here does not look like Emma.
No, it doesn't. It's really weird.
It took me a second.
This book actually loses a lot of continuity because the whole time young Scott and Jean are wearing the same clothes that they stole off that line early on in the series.
Yeah, the end of the last issue, they still have those on. In the beginning of this,
They're just in their uniforms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it looks great, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I figured out who Emma looks like in that little picture right there. She looks like Jane Lynch.
Weird. I'm not looking at it, so, like, probably.
I was thinking she
weird.
looked like Rachel, just colored Emma.
Oh, okay, in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's talking about a different picture of her where it's just like a blonde lady with a black coat for some reason. But But yeah, she does look like Jane Lynch right there, like Diamond Jane Lynch.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Phoenix Choir is beaten by Zorn, and Cyclops and Wolverine show up, and she's like, and you two pieces of shit, like, everything's your fault because of how many times you cause schisms with the X-Men, because you're all like, join my side. No, join my side. And
Yeah. It's like,
it's
remember
your
that
fault.
book you guys were part of?
Like, after the sphere thing, you did the schism thing. Everyone thought it was a great idea for a homicidal maniac to just start a school.
And the whole time, Wolverine just is staring at boobs, Zorn. Staring at Zorn's
Zorn.
boobs.
No,
should've stabbed
it's a headbutt
It's a convenient headbutt.
where he's like checking her out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he should have stabbed her right after that. He's holding her down.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, right before that too, like when they're about to fight, he's like, "You're not our Jean," and then Scott's like, "She was never your Jean."
Right, being petty
Like,
right
so
there.
petty.
He does just sneak in those shots whenever he can.
He's like, gotta
So
let everybody
stupid.
else know. He's like, whoa,
So insecure.
just so everybody knows.
She didn't like him.
Yeah.
You scared her. Oh man,
But
that
yeah,
book was
It's
stupid.
like, why? He's holding her down like an arm on each arm. As if Cyclops is gonna come in with the gut stab.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's your job, Wolverine. Stab her.
Well, he's got his hand back to
Oh,
try
yeah,
to stab
yeah.
her. He's
He does
going
have
right
that
for
up
the
there.
stomach.
But
Don't-
she stops him and fucks him up, and then it's like Cyclops and her exchanging like blasts of energy.
It looks like he gets blasted through the stomach almost. Cyclops.
Yeah, he gets fucked up. I kind of wonder where that optic blast like goes to, like who it hits, because
So
he
you-
just like gets hit back, and you see his optic blast just goes off
Yeah.
panel,
It hits a bird in the sky.
like just
Like-
minding its own business.
like a fully cooked bird falls to earth,
it's like a cooked chicken just falls from the sky.
and not from heat, from the friction of it. heating.
Like it just kept hitting it so
Yeah.
much. So
Or it killed it and it falls to earth so fast that it cooks and defeathers itself.
and right after this, the first class come charging at Zorn, and there's a cool moment where like it's a big splash page of it, but then in the corner it's like an homage to when the first class fought Magneto, that first issue of X-Men
On
the
at Camp
cover.
Citadel. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It's the exact image of the cover where they're all jumping in. And it's funny because it's got the same stuff. You got Angel come in with it looks like a telephone pole, but it was always questionable. Like, is that a bazooka he's got?
Yeah, and why did he like get rid of the bazooka at whatever point?
Yeah, but it looks, because you see a telephone pole, and then in the corner box, Angel has it. And then the wire that Beast is swinging in on like a monkey, there was a wire on the telephone pole. So now we know. It's the origin.
That they make their telephone poles out of bazookas.
Yeah, that come with
Or
wires. It's like
bazookas out of telephone poles.
it's a pole chain to shoot the bazooka.
Could be one. It's just I picture that the telephone poles are a series of bazookas that are just connected, and you can disconnect them and they still work.
And this is where it gets weird though, because so the artist changes at this point, and the art is actually kind of worse. And the first class are all beating up Zorn, but there's a panel where Jean is punching Zorn, and her arm is fucking huge.
Oh, it is. I didn't realize that.
It is insane how big it is, because it's
And
like
it's
so wrong. It's in like the
Coming
worst
out of her
position.
head, yeah.
If you punched anybody like that, you break your shoulder.
Yeah, like her shoulder is coming out of the side of her head. It's
Yeah.
the weirdest thing.
She's got SpongeBob arms.
Like she inflated them.
No, I mean like how SpongeBob's arms aren't like
They're coming out of his
technically
ears?
like
Yeah.
coming out of his ears.
And because it was the homage and they have that same exact panel, I like how Iceman is back to just throwing snowballs.
Yeah.
As if that's going to do anything.
Which
to
was a
Zorn.
burn on him earlier on, where they were like, where Shadowcat was like, yeah, I saw that footage. You threw snowballs at him.
Yeah. He's like, we fought Magneto.
Then he was like, what is it, Eunice the Untouchable? I totally touched him.
Yeah. Inappropriately.
I mean, totally appropriately. No one knows that about me yet.
Yeah.
Did I say anus? I meant Eunice.
Anus the Untouchable.
I touched it.
God damn it.
Smelt my finger after two. Shouldn't have done that. So anyway,
Gross.
Zorn fighting them is like, she's losing, but also losing control of her own power. And Jean's like, "What's happening to you? Tell me," because like she's worried, like it's her future self, and she's like, "Yeah, you'll find out. It's fucked up." And then she blows up.
Yeah, she activates self-destruct.
Yeah.
She's a fucking graveler.
presumably killing all the Sentinels and stuff around them, because then the X-Men are like, we should probably leave. And then they just teleport out of there. And then Maria Hill and the better art comes back into play. And she's like, X-Men, are you here? Because it's all dusty and stuff. And it's just Zorn's mask. That's all that's left.
Evil Xavier hits him with the "To me, my brotherhood."
Oh, yeah.
He's just crawling, though.
He's back in his chair after he got another back slice.
Yeah, like, I really think Ileana was just, like, kneecaps and breaking his feet.
And now 4 epilogues. So the first epilogue is basically the Uncanny X-Men and Wolverine's X-Men just sort of like, well, that happened. And right away, Scott and Wolverine are like, the Brotherhood stuff doesn't matter. The X-Men and the Time stuff doesn't matter. What matters is S.H.I.E.L.D., they got fucking Sentinels. And something needs to happen with that. And Wolverine's like, yeah, but not by you. By us, because you're still a bad guy. And it's like, I'm not a fucking bad guy.
The only person who can do this is somebody Jean doesn't care about.
But also totally loved, so fuck you.
You notice that Magneto, his helmet is like enclosed on his head almost entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the eye and front slit are so small, it looks like somebody like shoved them together.
Yeah, depending on who's drawing it, he's got like no field of vision.
Yeah.
He can stick like a French fry in there to eat, and that's it.
He's just
He only eats French fries. That's funny.
it's French fries and Twizzlers.
He's got like a burger patty that he has to turn sideways to fit in there.
Yeah. And then epilogue 2 is sort of Chimera like, so the Brotherhood are off around here somewhere, and I gotta find them. So I'm gonna stick around and not go back to the future like I'm supposed to until that's settled.
Future Jubilee died, so we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
That art is a little messed up though. For epilogue 2, it's like really good for Emma, and then Storm looks like trash. That's some really bad Storm art right there.
Yeah.
She looks like a very old man.
Which is weird because like it's sort of important on that page. Storm anyway, like is an important figure because she's like talking to her future daughter, and it's like sort of a like. So do I get back with T'Challa or something?
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, because he hasn't been returning my texts. So. I'm trying to figure this out.
He's kind of mad about this whole like mutants destroying Wakanda thing.
And like I get that, but like also it's like one guy. It was one guy. Like I can control that guy. I think he's a dick.
Where she's like, I'm late, and you like block.
He got that latex.
Yeah.
I think I'm latex. Because he didn't wear the latex. He has a
Well,
little
he's got the suit. He doesn't need that.
You're an old man.
Why? Because I
That's
know.
such an old reference.
Because I know Lil Wayne.
Lollipop came out like 2007.
Yeah. Well, okay. Sure. It was applicable. So epilogue 3, the future X-Men they go back to their future. They're like, all right, or my bad, they're present. And Iceman makes a point to mention the Bamfs. It's like, hey, those little guys, watch out for those. Those are going to be important later. They just take their dead and go. Oh, there was a whole thing where like Shogo was talking to Jubilee, and he's like, that wasn't you. You didn't die.
Yeah,
I mean, you died,
you're
but
my
like,
mom.
you don't got to worry about that, right? We changed things, I think.
Neely blocks the sun for her, so she
Yeah.
doesn't die a horrible death in the front yard.
And that's when he.
That'd be she's like, Shogo,
Not
I
in
need
the
to.
Like,
Not
he
the
watched his
front
mom die twice.
Yeah.
He's blocking the sun, then just puts his arms down like without thinking and murders her.
But he is basically like, yeah, you figure that shit out.
Yeah, he'll get used to it.
'Cause my arms are real tired.
Figure it out sooner. And then epilogue 4, Kitty decides, I can't do this anymore. You guys never listen to me. You're jerks, so I'm going to leave. And we're going with the other X-Men because they're funner.
They're funner.
Not
That's
at
the
all.
whole
That's the
reason.
exact opposite of what they are, frankly.
All right, we get this scene because I think we glossed over it. Didn't they have like Kitty was really mad at Ileana, or she said something?
That
like,
was it.
Yeah, that was part 1.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't even that. It was a couple issues before this. When she first brings back the X-Men, it's sort of like, it's right after Scott tries to stop Zorn, and Zorn does the whole White Room thing. And then Scott and Wolverine are arguing about like if they're even gonna help, and Illyana mentions that she brought the future X-Men. Like, they're on the same side. I brought the future X-Men, and Wolverine does I believe they're X-Men because Wiccan saved me, but, I don't trust you guys. And there's a moment where Kitty's like, yeah, and who trusts you? To Illyana. She's like real shitty to her for no reason.
Yeah, which was like out of character because they're such good friends. And then here at the end, written by Bendis, now you get they have like some, like a meeting up where Kitty says, thank you, Illyana, of course, and they're hugging and stuff like that, which is way more to character because...
Yeah, so it was just weird. Jason Aaron wrote them like they were like... Or mainly that Shadowcat was just being shitty to her for some reason.
Yeah, which wouldn't happen.
Well, and we've talked about before that, like, especially during this period, there was a lot of miscommunication between writers at Marvel. Like, it isn't for, like, 2 or 3 years from now that, like, they really start fixing their communication with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a fucking piece of shit.
I got to point out in Epilogue 1, it's kind of shitty because Wolverine's like, no, we'll handle this SHIELD thing. Even though that's all the Uncanny team has been doing.
Exactly.
And Wolverine's been, like, doing side jobs while the students cause terror at the place.
He's just counting his money in Madripoor.
He won't be a problem soon.
Do you have a feeling?
Yeah. Got a good feeling. Right in the pit of my stomach.
Sounds like you're high on believing.
That you're in love with me. So check out our Facebook page and our Twitter and our Instagram. Everything is at Mex-Men Podcast.
We got stuff for sale. Buy that, please, on TeePublic.
Yeah, shirts and other accoutrement.
Huh?
Accoutrement sounds like a Digimon that, like, just makes stuff. Like that, but it's different.
It sounds like a Jamaican one.
Accoutrement. But yeah, buy our stuff.
Like it's a tax art. Take this shirt.
Buy something weird like a tapestry.
Or like just a pillow.
Yeah, like a throw pillow.
But
or
like
a onesie, a baby onesie, even though you don't have a baby. You like put it on a stuffed animal, but you don't have a stuffed animal.
Please do
put
that.
it on your dog.
If you buy the baby onesie and send us the picture, we will. We'll
post it.
Yeah, we'll put it up on our social medias, which again are at Mex-Men Podcast.
If you buy the pillow and then you put the onesie on the pillow, we will thank you.
Yes.
Yep. So that's for today.